Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is Maureen Belden. She is the Executive Director of the Guilford Arts Center Craft Expo 14. It's her first time on the show, so welcome to the show.
Thanks, Sean.
I think everybody knows what crafts are and maybe even what a craft expo is, but we want you to tell us what the Guilford Arts Center Craft Expo 14 is.
Okay, well, it's a very special one. It's one of the oldest outdoor craft shows in the Northeast, very, very popular. It's a nationally juried show, so artists from, and it's all American artists, so artists from across the country apply to be a part of the show. We have 180 exhibitors every year.
Wow.
And again, they come from across the country. There's a large concentration of artists from the Northeast, as you might imagine.
Well, it's just quicker to get to, right?
Quicker to get to,
Right.
and a lot of these artists spend their summers doing the craft festival circuit. They actually spend their year doing that. But so there's a high concentration of people from New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and the range of media is really incredible. Woodworking, all kinds of jewelry, handmade pottery, glassware, mixed media objects, photography, a lot of different media, something, we like to say something for everyone who's a collector or interested in the world of craft.
So when you say Craft Expo, that's a very all-encompassing phrase. I mean, it's a big umbrella.
It really
to
is.
Mention everything that's under there.
It really is, and you know, fiberware, clothing, and rugs and stuff like that. It's like a little museum on the green, is what we like to say. 180 artists is a lot of people, and as I say, we've been told it's like a mini museum. Everyone sets up their own display, their own booth. And there's so much to see. A lot of people come because they're interested in a particular medium. Let's say they're pottery collectors or they're glass collectors, but they're just so blown away by everything else there is to see. It may not be their favorite thing, but again, it's sort of like a museum experience where you might be exposed to something you hadn't even thought of as a craft before.
Well, I guarantee you that the majority of people who are just passersby or just want to attend this expo will discover something that they didn't even realize was going to be there.
Oh, I can guarantee you that that's the case, yes. Or even if they're particularly committed or interested in a particular craft, they'll find an artist who's doing something with it that's really unique, working in a particular way, and that's one of the cool things about the show.
57th year for this? Wow, I mean, that's going way back.
Yeah.
I'm going to not assume that you go back to the beginning.
I was not at the original one.
Well, how has it evolved, from the time that you've been there, how has it evolved into what it is? How was it way back when, and how is it compared to today?
That's a good question. It actually, the Craft Expo is sponsored by Guilford Arts Center. And Guilford Arts Center is actually the beneficiary of the fundraising element of the Craft Expo. And the Arts Center is a school, primarily, shop and gallery. We're a nonprofit educational institution. The Craft Expo actually predates the Arts Center itself.
No kidding.
Right. In 1957, a group of local artisans from Guilford put on a show on the green. And they started to do it annually. 10 years later, in 1967, they realized there was such an interest in handmade crafts, particularly in Guilford and on the shoreline. They got a lot of interested people, that they decided to found a school so that people could study and continue to make crafts. Wow. So the Art Center itself and the Craft Expo are intimately connected, but the craft show, which is sort of a singular event, actually predates the Art Center. But we try to always a lot of people come to the craft show because it's a great event, but we work very hard to make the connection between the show and our school.
So people can learn a lot about the Guilford Arts Center by attending the Craft Expo?
Yes, they can, absolutely. We encourage them to become members, which gives them certain benefits, including free admission to the show for all 3 days. Discounts on classes. We have an amazing educational gallery. We have a great year-round shop where we carry handmade American crafts. That's all we carry. Year-round. So I would say it's evolved from a few artists on the green in the 1950s to what it is today. Over the years, both aspects have grown really wonderfully. The craft show itself and the Art Center, which has a tremendous roster of classes, great teachers.
Can you get your degree there?
No, it's not a degree granting institution, but other than that.
Guilford Arts Center, since they're the financial beneficiary of the Craft Expo, I would imagine that there are probably other events besides the Craft Expo, but that's probably their biggie.
This is our biggest fundraiser. We do have others. We have actually a holiday sale of American craft where, again, it's about 300 artists represented in our shop and gallery. So it's sort of like a mini expo. Well, it's not even a mini craft
No.
expo. It's longer. It's actually the whole holiday season, November and December. It's called Artistry. But that's another big fundraiser that we do for the Art Center.
You know, right off the bat, you said it's all American
Yes.
stuff. Now that perked up a bunch of viewers' ears the minute you said that. Why did you decide to do that? What's the rationale behind it?
Well, the rationale it has to be it has to be part of the founding mission, which was we're supporting local, and in a broader sense,
Right.
American-made craft.
Just being American is a little less local, but at least it's still American, right?
It's still American, and you know, there's a lot of places where people can buy things.
Yeah.
You know, we all go online, we all buy things on Amazon. Our mission is specific, which is to support handmade works by artists and American artists. So there are people who are, like you said, their ears perked up, very, very interested in supporting
But
American-made
they'll
work.
only buy American stuff.
They'll only buy American stuff. And you know what? Sometimes you're going to pay a little bit more, but you understand that. And the other thing is, what we sell is not only made in America, it's handmade. And there are a lot of people who are attracted to that aspect of it.
Right, it's not on an assembly line or something, right?
Every piece is unique. And that's also one of the reasons that they love the craft shows, because they get to meet the artists. They get to talk to the artists. They may get to haggle with the artists, but they have that immediate, that interaction between, you know, talking to the artist about their inspiration. It's a really cool connection to make, and I think that really brings people to the show,
I think one thing that annoys people is the nature of, you know, it's diabolical. You think you're buying American, and then you look at the bottom of the cup or whatever it is, and you see it's made in China or really any other country.
Yeah, no, this is the real deal. And at the craft show, you're going to meet the person.
Yeah, so the person who made it too. Well, there's no
We'll be
getting
there.
around that one.
There's
yeah.
no getting around that. Yeah.
57 years, I'm still amazed at that. And all the time that you've been doing it, how much has it grown in a physical sense? How much of the green does it take up? How much was it taken up? How much is it taken up now?
I've been involved with the show for 10 years. And it actually it's grown a little bit, but it hasn't grown hugely, and it never will.
It sounds like you're at the perfect size.
We're at the perfect size. We don't want to get bigger. The show takes place on about half of the green, which is a wonderful thing. It's a great event for the town of Guilford. However, it's important for us to leave a lot of the green. We have a big, gorgeous green in Guilford. We feel that it's important to not take over the entire green. And in fact, we work very closely with the town to make sure that that balance is right. Because people want to walk their dogs, and they want to, you know, sit under a tree and read a book. And so we do. We take. It's growing. It's grown, but it's going to stay about in the sweet spot.
There's no point in having an outdoor event if you can't enjoy the outdoors while, you know, whatever it is you're doing there.
Exactly.
Right? It makes
Exactly.
sense. The peripheral activities, aside from the craft itself, there's food, music, some kind of entertainment. I bet you there's all kinds of other. Tell me about that a little bit.
You know, there's lots of other cool things. We do keep the focus on craft, but we have a really great food court. We've had food kind of develop this over the years. Some food trucks who like to come. We have some old favorites and some new
Are all they American too?
Actually, we have a French food truck coming, which is good. Actually, no, and we have a Thai food truck. We have
You're going
pizza.
international on the
We're
food.
going international on the food, but they all work
Right.
local restaurants,
Right.
absolutely. We also, because of our location on the green, we're right downtown, we're surrounded by shops and restaurants. And, you know, so people have choices whether they want to just stay in the fair and get something really yummy from a truck, or go out into the, you know, community restaurants. So there are a lot of different choices. We have music every day, sometimes in the afternoons, evenings, just as an added sort of attraction. We're having a bike raffle of a really fantastic bike that was donated by the Devil's Gear Bike Shop, which is a really cool place in New Haven. Second year they've donated to us as an additional fundraising element. We have a silent auction. Many of the artists donate crafts, and you can come and bid every day at the auction and get like a real bargain on work by an artist you might love. And that is a cool thing, because those proceeds specifically support our scholarship fund at the center. So that's how we, you know, keep our scholarship fund
It sounds
going.
like it's very family-oriented, family-friendly. You bring the family, you enjoy the day. shop around, look at the crafts, enjoy entertainment, eat.
Yep.
A perfect day.
It's the perfect day, we like to say.
It's 3 days.
3 days.
Right? Is there anything different, like something entertainment might be different on one day compared to
Yes.
another?
The music is different every day.
You got to come all 3 days.
You
then,
have to
right?
come all 3 days and hear everybody. And that's actually, can I just say, it's kind of important. It's a 3-day event this year. For the last few years, it's been 4 days, Thursday through Sunday. This year, it's 3 days, Friday through Sunday.
I think that Thursday is probably a tough sell of all the days.
Yeah, and we didn't have Sunday for a long time, again, sort of because of some of the feelings about use of the green. But Friday through Sunday is the perfect weekend time span for us. So we want to try to get word out there that that's the schedule this year.
You mentioned a couple of times, the considerations about the green, the neighborhood. Is there any kind of political red tape or hoops that you kind of have to jump through in order to make it all happen and make it perfect? Because, permits, there's all kinds of agendas going on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. To put it mildly, right?
So much, but you know what? We've got it. We have a great working relationship with the town. I think the officials and the people who work in town realize that it's a lot of work, but there's a great benefit for the town. Just like at the Art Center, it's a lot of work for us. It's a great benefit for the center. We have a really good working relationship. We all keep each other on task, make sure we're doing the right things, but very much so because it's broadly. It benefits the town of Guilford and the shoreline, we like to say. Brings people there, introduces them to the town and the shops. At the same time that it's a tremendous fundraiser for the center, and we're appreciative of the use of the town green.
So any resistance there might be, when you kind of pitch them the fact that it's beneficial to them, the town in general, that kind of alleviates some of their concerns.
We hope so. I mean, as I said, the officials in town are very vocal about that too. They're very positive and try to put that word out there.
Well, what would be some things that they would not be comfortable with, just the crowd or all that?
It brings a lot of people to town, which being in a touristy town in the summer, it's double-edged sword. The people who live, it's kind of annoying when there's so much traffic snarl downtown.
Get out of my yard, you whippersnappers.
But it's good for business, and that the town works with us in terms of controlling traffic and. I think on the main, it's seen as it's a very positive thing for everybody.
That's kind of what the green is supposed to be for anyway, not just for you to walk your dog on, for a little event, local community events, right?
And there's lots of events that happen on the green all throughout. I mean, we're having graduation on the green, and we have other small fairs and concerts on the green. So absolutely, the green is for people to congregate and enjoy things together.
We've got a lot more to get to and a lot more to talk about. Well, why don't you give out the website as we go into this break, and then we'll get back to the show.
The website is www.guilfordartcenter.org.
Maureen Belden, the Executive Director of the Guilford Arts Center Craft Expo 14. I am Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. We'll be right back. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. Maureen Belden is my guest today. She's the Executive Director of the Guilford Arts Center. As Executive Director, I'm sure that's a person who wears many hats for this Craft Expo, right? What do you do?
Well, as Executive Director for the Arts Center, I wear many hats, as does everyone on staff at the Arts Center. We have like many nonprofits, our staff is small but mighty, I always like to say, and we do a lot of different things. But I'm in charge of programming, outreach to the community.
You're the de facto PR person too, right?
I'm the de facto, that's actually how I started as the PR person, working with the board to develop donor relations, things like that.
You get grants, you write grants?
Write grants to support our programs, definitely. And I think one of the reasons I'm the spokesperson for this event is I actually worked primarily on the craft show in one of my earlier iterations of my job. I was the in-house person who did it.
So you are the main person for the Craft Expo as well as the Guilford Arts Center. I know you have a staff, right?
Right. No, we actually have a person who is the primary driver of the Craft Expo. Her name is Allison Maltese. That's really what her primary job is. But my co-director, Suzanne Hens-Kaplan, also gets involved, and we have tons of volunteers, like over 100 volunteers who make the event run. So we all work very hard at all the different aspects of the show. But Allison, who's really in charge of the event, works year-round with all the coordination of everything. the rest of us are sort of support of that, and at the actual event, the volunteers go into play and do a ton of the legwork.
I was going to ask you, like, how far in advance do you start working on the expo? And it sounds like it's sort of a year-round thing.
It's a year-round thing.
Really?
As soon as the show closes at the end of July, we
Take a short break.
Take a short break in
Right.
August, and then we put out the call to artists for the next show by October. So we're spending September getting all those materials ready. Put out the call to artists in October, and artists are applying November, December, and the jurying for the show takes place in January.
No kidding.
And the selection is made by early February.
It's
So
interesting
year-round.
that you say they apply. Do you have to, is it at the point where you have to turn some people down? Is that how popular it's become?
Oh, yeah, it is a juried show, so we
Okay.
have more artists applied than we have spots for. It's based on, the jury changes every year at this point. We get people who are, well known in the craft field or a specific craft field, a number of them to sort of look at images together. We use an online application process, which makes it easy for the artist to apply and easy for the jurors to see images.
But you decide based on, variety of things like that?
We try to balance the types of work in the show, and they come up with a scoring system that makes sense. We have a wait list. People do get called off the wait list.
Last-minute replacement kind of a thing or something like that. You ever have any celebrities do the craft expo, just out of curiosity? Anything like that?
No, but one year Julia Roberts was at the Guilford Fair.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And she kind of slipped over to
no,
you?
she didn't. I'm just saying to you. So the answer is no. One year we
That's
thought...
as close as you've had as a celebrity. Someone at another event.
Exactly.
That's great. Okay, so another question I wanted to ask you was, at the beginning of the show, some of the artists, as you mentioned, kind of participate in this craft expo as part of a circuit.
Yeah.
So it's like a tour around different expos throughout the summer, like in the Northeast. Is that how it works?
It's a year-round thing, and they're throughout the country.
No
So
kidding.
a lot of them happen around the holidays and are indoor shows, like in New York City.
Right, in the winter
Yep,
area,
yep. And some of them are outdoor shows in the summertime. But kind of getting back to what we were saying about supporting American art, American-made work and American artists. This is primarily how many of these artists make their living, is by going and doing. It's an old-fashioned model where you take your goods to town and you show it. And now the internet has changed a lot of that. A lot of artists have websites. They sell work off the website or Etsy, but it's still, the backbone of a certain kind of culture.
Some people will refuse to buy off the internet. They want to be able to see it, touch it, try it
Absolutely.
out. They have to have it in their hands before they'll buy it, and you can't blame them for that.
No, and especially something handmade, because the quality and the detail is something that you, as you say, you really want to hold it in your hand, and it's wonderful to be able to talk to the person who made it.
Right. And you can tell how these artists take their craft seriously if they're willing, like you said, if they earn their living by making the rounds to all the craft expos and events. So you got to figure the quality. I mean, they're earning their living that way. The quality has got to be top notch.
Oh yeah, and they're very passionate about what they do. I don't think any of them are getting particularly rich, but
Right.
it's who
It's
they
the love of
are.
the-
It's the
of the
love
art,
of the
right?
work, and I think that comes through in the work itself and in the experience of interacting with the public who comes. It's a really unique experience. It's kind of unique in this day and age.
How many times since you've been doing it has weather been an issue, since it is an outdoor event?
Weather is an issue.
But we're going to knock on wood for
We're
this
going to
year.
knock on wood. Weather is always an issue, because anyone who does an outdoor event will tell you that. It's hot in July.
Right.
It's always hot in July. Sometimes it's hotter than others. Sometimes it's absolute blue skies and 70 degrees. Sometimes it drizzles. We have not had a rain out yet in my time.
Sometimes that's welcomed compared to the heat.
Actually, we had a little bit of rain one year, and it was quite lovely because it was cool, and a lot of the shoppers loved it because they had they had the craftspeople to themselves and kind of had the run of the place. So that wasn't a terrible thing, but it's always a factor. And we always cross our fingers because.
But it is a rain or shine event. If it's
a rain
raining,
or
it's still
shine
going to go
event.
on. Right?
It's absolutely rain or shine, and it can go on because it's all under tents.
Right.
So.
But there is something to be said for, and this isn't a knock against the indoor events that occur in the winter. Sometimes that's necessary. But there's something about the feel of, I know it's heat and humidity, but that's like part of the experience when you're on the green and you're out there with your family and you see people walking dogs and it's summer. And, it's like that's all part of the experience.
It's beautiful, and I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things that makes the show so unique and so popular. Is it's all those things you just said. being outdoors with other people. And we always say to people, it's breezy on the green. There's a
Right.
lot of trees.
You're on the water, right?
It's shady, and if it, it's not a bad place to be even on a hot day.
Guilford is a shoreline town. It's kind of right off the highway, so it's
Yes, it
easy to
is.
get to.
Yes.
What exit is it off the highway?
It's exit 58, but you
Okay.
can actually take 57, 58, or 59. We have shuttle buses.
Oh, okay.
We do have shuttle buses that run from exit 58.
I was going to ask you about the parking situation.
Well, there's parking downtown. There's also St. George Church, which is right across from the main entrance to the show, has a huge parking lot. And it's paid parking, but it's only $5 per day, a suggested donation. And we recommend that to most everyone because it's super convenient
Right.
and close by.
$5 is worth it. for
$5 is so worth it. You can find parking downtown. It's not easy. It's like and almost any day it's not that easy. But St. George is a great alternative, and we do run shuttle buses from exit 58 from the commuter lots, and then there's a middle school, Adams Middle School is right down the road from the commuter lot, and we run shuttle buses from there. And we've heard feedback that works very, very well too.
I don't think we mentioned the dates enough. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, July 18th, 19th, and 20th, right?
Yes, that's
Depending on the day, the hours are a little different.
Yep. Friday is noon to 9 p.m. So you start in the afternoon, and we have evening hours that day for people who might want to come after work, come for a little early dinner and shop. Saturday is 10 to 7 all through the course of the day, and then Sunday is 12 to 5. So there are church services in the morning and stuff like that, but from 12 to 5, and that's proven to be a very popular day. As I said, we added Sundays a few years ago, and that's proven to be, as I said, a popular day for people to come.
That's actually a good idea. If you're a church-going person, you have that in the morning. You go to this fun craft expo. That's your Sunday afternoon.
People do. People
maybe
do.
eat there, or maybe even go to the expo and then eat
Yep.
somewhere else or whatever. But your day is filled and it's perfect.
We like to, yeah, you should come.
Yeah, I'm talking myself into it as I do it here now. Here's what I want you to do as the executive director. You've done it enough times. What's the perfect setup for you? If you were a visitor, you were coming to it. What do you start at? What do you make your way to? When do you get to the food part of it, the entertainment part? What's the best thing to do?
The best thing
The
to
route.
do is to come. It's really very specific. I would say whenever you come, you should make time to have some food because the food is really good. Whether you want to do a lunch or
already
a
sold me.
dinner, okay, you're there. And the music as well. There's some music happening in the afternoon and some in the evening, so you can take advantage of that. We provide a program and a map that we hope we try to make very user-friendly because, again, it's 180 artists. So, there's a lot of information we need to give to people in terms of where the artists are and what they make. So we try to make a very user-friendly program. People will come, and as I said, if they're interested in a particular medium, they can sort of find those artists. Or they're looking for a particular person, they can find those artists. And other people will just sort of wander through the tents.
You discover things.
You discover things. We try to have, as I said, a lot of volunteers. And the volunteers are good with information in terms of directing people where to go, where to find things. But I would say plan to make as much of a day of it as you want to. The other thing this year is we're having a multi-day pass. We haven't had that before. It's been per day admission. And this year we're offering a multi-day pass. So you could come all 3 days, a little bit of all 3 days. You could come for 3 meals.
I was going to ask you that. It makes sense. Could you get something out of it by going more than one day?
Absolutely.
And the answer is yes.
And sometimes, let's put it this way, if there's a piece that you love and you're really thinking about buying it, is it really going to fit in with the decor?
You think about it, you leave, and then you come back and you've made up your mind. The next day you pick it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a nice advantage.
As this show, as we get to the point where the expo will happen, as people are watching this show, are you at the point where you still might need volunteer help?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so what should they do if they want to volunteer? Be a part of it?
If they want to volunteer, they could call the Art Center, which is, if you want me to give you the phone number,
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
203-453-5947, or email us at info@guilfordartcenter.org. I actually work a lot with the volunteers. That's my favorite part because they're just amazing
What kind of
people.
skills are you looking for? It just doesn't matter,
Friendliness.
Friendliness, that's what you need. People
Energy and
skills.
friendliness, people skills. Really what we use the volunteers for are entrance gates, so selling admissions, and then giving relief to the artists over the course. We call it booth relief, so we might send you out to the booths to sit while the artists go take a break, go get a meal, or go see a friend who's in another tent. Really, it's all people person skills, and people love to do it. We have an amazing loyal core of people who come back year after year after year, and every year we add new people who then become old timers.
Awesome.
And as I said, that's one piece of the event that I am in charge of, and I love that part because people just love to put on a show. People love to feel like they're helping out with something fun, and it's a
They
positive.
get great satisfaction.
They get great satisfaction out of it, I think.
All right, let's take one more break and come back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. So that is our show for today. Maureen Belden, the Executive Director of the Guilford Arts Center, and the big Craft Expo 14 coming up. We'll have you give out the website one more time.
Okay, it's www.guilfordartscenter.org.
It's got prices on it, a listing of all the events, all the entertainment, and everything you could possibly want. Did you want to give out,
I'll tell you the hours again.
Okay,
Should we do
hours
that?
and dates.
Okay, the dates are Friday through Sunday, July 18th through the 20th. Friday, it's noon to 9, Saturday 10 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. The admission is $9 for adults, $7 for seniors. It's free if you're a member of Guilford Arts Center, kids under 12, and active military members. You can become a member actually at the show, and you would receive immediate free admission. And we're also making coupons if you go on the website, you can find a coupon for admission too.
And still looking for volunteers too.
And still looking for volunteers.
Maureen Belden, the Executive Director, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You can see this show and many others on our YouTube site. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Take care.